Welcome, everybody.
Way, we're back. We're back. There's no TJs there. It's a bit weird. We've got me hosting today. So yeah, there's no TJs today, unfortunately. But everyone, welcome to the American Idiot Show, episode 15. And yeah, so bit of a big milestone. Episode 15. We're getting through these episodes, man. I'm telling you. But listen, we're joined today, of course, by Dow, the co-host with the most. How you doing, man?
Everyone's doing well.
And of course, we've got Jez coming back to the American Idiot Show once again. Jez, how you doing, man? You all good?
I'm all good, man. All good. Yeah, looking forward to this show. It's always good fun, good banter, light-hearted, and always speaks. Facts are spoken, so you can never ask for more than that. So
100%. And of course, people, make sure to leave a like on the stream. Of course, subscribe to TJ's channel as well. He's not here because I believe he's at a wedding event today. So he's trusted myself and, of course, Dow normally co-hosts as well. So I'm a little bit nervous today because I haven't done a stream in months. So, yeah, but we'll get into it today. So today, if you haven't seen from the title, we are going to go through our Premier League teams of the season. We have individually here come up with our own teams, and we're going to go through them one by one and sort of explain why we've put each player's in. And we're also going to talk about the fixtures which have been released. Obviously, the Arsenal, all the Premier League fixtures were released the other day, and there's some pretty interesting ones, especially in the first couple of months as well. So, and we'll just talk about the whole season in general, and maybe if we've got a bit more time, we'll talk about some transfers as well, because there's a lot of transfer business going on with Arsenal at the moment. You know, we're linked with multiple players, as we always are, for hefty fees, and some may be true, some maybe not. But yeah, so like I said, make sure to leave a like and, of course, subscribe to TJ Warren TV. Let's get TJ up to 400 subs, man. Come on, let's do this. And yeah, should we get straight into it, guys? Get into our Premier League team of the season. So make sure to leave your teams, if you want to, in the chat. And, of course, if you're watching on playback, feel free to leave them in the comments as well. So should we get straight into it? And should we go individual teams and then instead just doing one by one positions, or how do you guys want to do it?
don't mind, man. Up to you.
Yeah, maybe just do the whole team and then a brief explanation why on certain players, because I'm sure there's some players that somebody might have in there that are unexpected, you know? So
yeah, for sure. Okay, well, I've done some sort of edits for mine and Dow's. Jez, obviously, we didn't get time to edit yours, but you can just read yours out and explain yours, why you think you put them in your team. So let me quickly get up my team here. We'll go with mine. And let's get up here. So as you guys can see, here is my team of the season for the Premier League. Premier League season that's just gone. There will be some ones that obviously not everyone's going to agree with them. And feel free to put your opinions in the chat and, of course, in the comments as well on playback. And we all know there's no perfect team. We all know that. There's no perfect team. But yeah, let's get straight into it. In the goalkeeper position, I have gone for Alisson. Now, there's multiple people who you could have put in there. Really, you could have put in Ramsdale. A lot of Arsenal fans love Ramsdale this season. You could have put Nick Pope. You could have even put David De Gea, because he did get the Golden Glove in the end. But I did put Alisson because on the factor that Liverpool had a very poor season. Well, in terms of Liverpool stands anyway, and how they've been the last couple of seasons. Alisson always stood out. You know, he had his moments where he wasn't up to it, but majority of it, he was fantastic. You know, I think he's still got second in the clean sheets. And for a team that was pretty poor, especially defensively, he saved them in a lot of trouble because they were pretty shocking defensively last season, especially when we went to Anfield as well. The fact that I didn't even think we'd even score a goal, and the fact we even got two through them first, you know, obviously the other two is a different story. But the fact that we managed to do that, I thought I was quite surprised. But no, in my opinion, Alisson was fantastic for Liverpool last season still. And yeah, like Jaminho says here, I do believe that Liverpool, Alisson and Salah did carry Liverpool last season. That's why I put him in there. Do you guys agree with me on that? Dow, what do you think?
yeah, I mean, to me, it was between him and Ramsdale. But Alisson is just, he's just one of those prime performers. He doesn't really buckle under pressure. He throws the ball out well. He's aggressive in the box, and yeah, they haven't had the best season. You're right. Their defense and their injuries were really bad, but that's definitely a good shout. He's definitely one of the top 3 keepers in the league for sure.
I'd say definitely up there in the world still. I'd definitely say
top 10 for sure in the world.
And yeah, so I put him in goalkeeper. I was thinking, do I be a bit biased putting Ramsdale? But no, I do have to give credit where credit's due and put Alisson in there because I do think he is the best in my opinion. We're going to the right back for me. I've gone for Trippier. I think, in my opinion, there's one other person I would have put in there, and that would have been Reece James if he weren't have been injured, because I think Reece James is quality. And not many right backs really stood out to me that much this season. And Trippier was just always that one for me. And I think he was fantastic for Newcastle, especially when he first came in. He changed that defensive massively for Newcastle, in my opinion. And I think he's been very standout for them. And their defense has been fantastic, as we all know. They scored, they conceded the least goals, I believe, last season, or they're on match with Man City. So that's why I put him in there. And I think he's a fantastic right back. And I think the age he is as well. I think he's 31, and he's still doing well. And I think when I saw him go to Spain and he came back, I thought he's going to do the job, but he did. I think he's fantastic. Jez, what do you think about having Trippier at right back?
Well, actually, I've got him as well.
Okay, nice one.
So we have to agree on that one for sure. And I mean, do you want me to do my goalkeeper now or wait?
Well, let me just go through mine. I'll quickly just run through mine, and then we'll go through the others individually. Now, I've gone for Saliba at centre back, and there's a lot of bias because I was very torn between him and Botman from Newcastle, because Botman has been a revelation, in my opinion, for Newcastle. He's been fantastic. However, I'm a bit biased. I can't lie. I'm a bit biased, but you can't disagree, guys. Saliba's been so impactful for our defense, and the fact that he was left out of that team for so long and put out on loan, I think was just maybe one season on loan, but the fact we loaned him out 3 times, I thought was crazy. And he's come in and he's shown his own. And it was unfortunate he got injured, and it was very clear to see that we had a lot of defensive mistakes when he wasn't in the side. But that's why I've put him in there, because he was such an impactful player when he was in the team, and we were conceding little to no goals, I believe, when he was on the side. So I've put him in there, but I know, Strasbourg Steve is in the chat, so big up to yourself, man. I was going to put Botman in there, but I was going to be a bit biased, and I had to put an Arsenal player in there. So yeah, that's why I put him in there. And Ruben Diaz, in my opinion, says it all. He is, in my opinion, one of the best centre-backs in the league. Van Dijk was up there, but he has had a very poor season for Liverpool. But in my opinion, Ruben Diaz is one of, if not the maybe best centre-back in the league for me. I think he's fantastic, and obviously in the treble-winning side for City, so need I say more? And left-back for me, I've gone for Estupiñán from Brighton. I don't know if it was for you guys. I'll ask this question to you two in a minute. I found it quite hard to pick a left-back. There weren't many left-backs that really stood out to me this season. And I wasn't going to put Zinchenko in there because I don't think, although he has helped us going forward, if I'm thinking defensively, I look at Estupiñán. Not only is he great going forward, defensively, he's been very good for Brighton this season. And he really stood out for me. Did you guys have a bit of a problem choosing a left-back, or did you find it quite easy?
No, man, I went with our man Kieran Tierney all the way, even though he didn't play as much this season. Because when he played, and my explanation was that he made an impact when he played and he could defend. But Estupiñán is a good one too. I don't think he missed a Premier League game.
I don't think he did.
I think he played every game this season, and he is fantastic. And he's someone I wouldn't mind, getting Zinchenko out and putting him behind Kieran Tierney to change things up a bit, because he has got pace and he can get up that left wing just as fast as Martinelli. That's a good choice.
And that's what you need in fullbacks nowadays. You don't. Right. It helps them getting forward, and when you look at Tierney, he offers that. He offers that in attack and defensively, and unfortunately, Zinchenko don't do that. There was a lot of people I saw that had Zinchenko in their team of the seasons, and I was pretty shocked. I was like, even though he's been, in my opinion, a revelation for our attack, because he has been, in my opinion, but defensively, I was like, nah, not for me. But I put Estupiñán at left back because I just think he's been a fantastic player for Brighton. I think there was some team's even in for him. But I hope he stays at Brighton because I think he can really make a name for himself there. And I'll quickly run through the midfield. Rodri, need I say more, in my opinion, the best CDM in the league. There is debates with obviously Casemiro. Is he better? In my opinion, and I think there's going to be a bit of a change there because I know who Dow put in there. In my opinion, it is Rodri. As much as I dislike the guy, and he is a bit of an arse on the pitch.
Yeah.
In my opinion, he is one of the best CDMs in the league, if not the. And again, in a fantastic City side once again, and just took over that midfield. And I think he once again is a staple in that team and holds them defensively. And Kevin De Bruyne, need I say more? Probably one of, if not the best midfielder in the Premier League still. What is he, like 31 now? 32? And he's still playing great. Although did pick up an injury in the Champions League final. So maybe he's getting onto that part of his career where maybe injuries are going to take more of a toll of him every season. But again, he was fantastic for City. What do you think about Kevin De Bruyne this season, Jez? I thought he was fantastic. Again.
Oh, absolute class. Absolute class. He's a world-class player. You can't deny it. And it just shows what he does. He showed in the latter part of the season. And, we need people like that in our midfield. We don't have it, unfortunately. But, yeah, I totally agree with your choice there.
Cheers. And I have gone for Martin Odegaard. Again, I was a bit torn because Bruno Guimaraes has been great for Newcastle once again. And yeah, there were many players that I thought could go in there. But Odegaard, although he has had his moments where he has gone off and he hasn't been what we wanted him to be, there's been very much disappearing moments. But you can't deny the stats do show it. It's pretty decent last season. And a lot of people did have him in their team of the seasons. And maybe again, a bit of the Arsenal bias. Maybe I did put him in because of that. Not a captain, not a leader, but I've got to say that obviously is his best season for Arsenal. Hopefully he can be even better next season. But the stats show it. He was very good, in my opinion. And hopefully he can step it up and not go missing in more of the big games. But yeah, that's my midfield. I think. Again, I could have maybe put in Casemiro for Rodri and maybe Bruno Guimaraes for Odegaard. There's a lot of in-betweens that maybe I could have put in there. There's so many players you could have put
Joelinton would be one.
Another one. What a revelation he's been for Newcastle.
Right.
What an absolute revolution he's been. And, there's so many players you could put in.
Right, but the thing is, too, Connor, I think with Odegaard is Joelinton and Guimaraes, neither one of them scored 15 goals this season.
Exactly.
And scoring midfielder is what we needed for a long time. So
100%. And now I've got Kai Havertz coming in. So says it all, doesn't it? but yeah, anyway, so I'm going to go on to the attack now. And pretty straight, apart from one player, I've gone for Mohamed Salah. Like Jaminho said earlier, in my opinion, carried that Liverpool team on his back this whole season practically. He's been, again, fantastic for Liverpool. He just doesn't stop, does he? He just doesn't stop. And just a fantastic winger, in my opinion. And it's a shame that Liverpool did have a bad season because I think if Liverpool really got themselves running, and I do think they might do next season, because I think Salah will be firing again. Did have his moments, missed a couple penalties. But again, the stats don't lie. He had a fantastic season in a really poor Liverpool team. So that's why I've put him in there. I have put in Bukayo Saka. Now, in my opinion, it was between him and Rashford because Rashford, again, I could say the same thing, carried that United team for that first half of the season. He was on fire. I think got 17 goals this season, 5 assists, if I'm correct. No notes near me. I think that's generally off the top of my head. So it was a balance between him, but again, a bit of the Arsenal bias. I watch Saka every week, and I really do look up to him as a player. As a young player, as a young fan myself. I look up to him. Yes, we all know he had a rough spell, a very rough spell, where he didn't really show up for a good couple games. But again, it's another situation of a bit of an Arsenal bias, but you can't deny he was fantastic for us again this season. He is showing up. However, I think we can definitely see that I do believe Arteta was playing him a bit too much. We could have rotated. We had the players to rotate. We could have put Trossard in there because we did have Martinelli still there. We could have put Smith Rowe there. he can play on the wing. So I think it's definitely a thought to have for next season to maybe not play Saka fully. There are games where we can rest him, but again, another crucial player for Arsenal, and I think he's one of the most expensive English players in market value in the world. So fantastic player. And need I say any more? Erling Haaland. Who else are you going to have up there? What a fantastic player! I mean, how many goals did he score this season? What was it?
37. Overall, I think 52.
Yeah, crazy stuff. And the fact that that's his first season at Manchester City. I mean, I think probably you two have him in your teams as well. I'd like to think so because I don't know who else could get over him, but he's what a player. I generally think he's a robot half the time. Yeah. He's just an absolutely insane player. What do you two think of Erling Haaland? And if he's doing this in one season, what the hell is he going to be like in 5 years? Dow, first, what do you think of Erling Haaland?
I think he is just a powerhouse of a player. He's strong. He's tall. He's got just extremely athletic legs, powerful legs, powerful shot. It's just he's really embodies sort of almost a Ronaldo, but almost on steroids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He has power to just push people around and get inside the defender. You whip a ball and he just pushes himself right in front and nicks it in. I mean, what other little striker does that? Not Jesus. He doesn't have the strength. He doesn't have the size. So Haaland to me is kind of the all-around bionic man's Ronaldo, superhuman almost, like a fucking Power Ranger. Excuse my French. It's just it's ridiculous. You think the kid was, just fed corn instead of milk as a baby, but he's just this, 6'2", 6'3", dominating player. He's just. It's incredible to watch. And the thing is, too, you guys, that I like about it is that it's not always pretty. All his goals aren't that, finesse and class or whatever, we want to call them. Yeah, the finishes are class, but he stumbles in some of those goals. He's running so fast, he can't even stop himself some of the time. But he still gets the ball and just gets control, pushes the center back off and buries it. What else do you want? He is the complete striker. And I think he's going to score more goals next season for sure.
Yeah, I think he's going to break records, absolute records. Jez, what do you think about Haaland and the season that he's had for Manchester City this season?
The guy's just a beast, isn't he? God knows what he must be like to play against. He's big, he's tall, he's quick, he's physical. Bullies people off the ball, scores fantastic goals, and he's young. He's only a young kid, and he's just going to get better and better and better. And I find it terrifying. Basically, as a fan of an opposing club, that we have to face a player like this because, all right, I don't think he played great against Arsenal. To be fair, but. I think Arsenal should take a little bit of credit for that. But this guy is going to go on and go on and go on. And dear God, I pray for teams in the Premier League because I think this guy's immense. He's a fantastic, absolute, outrageous talent.
So let me pose to you, Connor and Jez. Do you guys think he'll stay in the Prem long? Do you think he'll go to Real Madrid in a couple seasons or maybe Barcelona?
I think he'll be here. I think he'll be here.
At City, United
seasons. Maybe when his contract's up. I don't know how long his contract is. But yeah, of course we're going to have the likes of Barcelona, Real Madrid. All the big noise makers are going to come sniffing around. And the fact of the matter is, this guy can command whatever money he wants.
Right.
Yeah.
And if there's teams out there that have the money to be able to secure his services, then, let's get it right. All footballers now have absolutely no loyalty. All this old school crap that, you play for the badge. No, they don't. They play for money. You offer the most money, and they'll come and play. They're all mercenaries. That's football. So it is what it is. Yeah. At some point, I think he'll be gone. Don't know when.
He's got, you said he's young. He's got a lot of years in front of him.
Of course he has.
Yeah, if he carries on what he done this season, next season, I think he will. I don't think he'll be stopping anytime soon. Jesus, we could be talking about, well, it's early doors, but we could be talking about another Premier League great. I mean, the fact that he's just done that in his first season, and as much as I want to say, because he's an opposition player, I do want him to break records because I think he's a fantastic player. He's nothing wrong about him at all. He's a good player. He knows what he needs to do. He has the job. And the fact that City got him for, was it a 50, 60 million pound fee because it was a release clause or something like that? It's got to be, I think he was always going to sign there, wasn't he? Because his dad used to play in Man City. So I think he was always going to go there. But what a player. But yeah, that's my team. Quickly just run into that. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. I think it's all right. There's going to be a bit of change, and I'm sure that Dow and Jez are going to give their views on their team. But make sure if you want to leave your teams in the chat, please do. And, of course, leave them in the comments as well. Dow, should we get into your team this season? I've got it.
Sure. Why not?
I've got it here as well, so we can go through it. And feel free to begin to take us into your team, man. I believe that is the right team. I hope it is.
Yep, that's the right team.
Go, take us through it, man.
Just Ramsdale because of some of those saves he made. I mean, my God, I don't think I've seen saves made like that in a long time. Maybe David Seaman and Mad Jens days, but we never saw that in previous goalies. Those would all be goals for sure. So a lot of those saves he made were just incredible. And, of course, I'm an Arsenal man through and through. And he is the most expensive goalkeeper in the world, I think, right now, right? Highest value in the world. So yeah, Ramsdale. I didn't believe, like many of us didn't. I didn't believe that he was going to really fit in and do as well as he has. But he's kind of made a doubter, I think, of all of us. And I think he's also got a lot of motivation behind him. He's always given it large to the way end when we're playing, and I think he just loves being at the club. And he gets mad when he makes mistakes. We saw it in the All or Nothing documentary. We've seen it the last few games of the season. Missing out. He looks crushed, and that's what we want. We want these players to feel bad that we didn't accomplish shit last season. We got second. Big deal. It's still not a trophy. Kieran Tierney, got to go with him, of course, because the game changes when he's on the pitch, even though Arteta just refused to play him at times, and then he was running an injury at times. I just, he to me embodies everything that Arsenal stand for as a club and the class that goes back to many, many decades. And it's a shame that we're probably going to lose him. Ruben Diaz, best defender in the world. Gabriel, I thought he was slightly, and I put him over Saliba because, of course, he played longer. And I thought he was pretty immense in some of the last games that kept us in it. Even though we didn't get the results we wanted, but I still think Gabriel was probably at times a little more vocal than Saliba. I think Saliba's a great defender, but I think he's a little bit on the quiet side.
I do think Gabriel was pretty underrated this season because, in my opinion, this was the best season for Arsenal. And I think he's learnt a lot, in my opinion. He didn't, when we always used to call him the bozo gene. And I know
he didn't go up the pitch as much, did he? He didn't go up to the halfway line and knock over somebody and, I didn't do it, and playing, innocent game. Yeah, he didn't do that much. That's true, Connor. That do that bozo shit this season as much, nearly as much at all. And so that's another reason why I put him in there, because he wasn't pushing so far up to the halfway line and fouling somebody and giving the ball away and that sort of thing. Kieran Trippier, there wasn't many right backs. Like I was thinking Reece James too. Yeah. But he didn't play hardly at all this season. I
did see Jamina putting Ben White. We didn't think about Ben White, but
I did, but I don't really. To be honest, I want to see more. I don't think just having him at right back off and on. I know he played there like 75% of the time. Tommy was in there, of course, Party towards the end. And so I don't really know at this moment, I don't know what Ben White's future is at Arsenal. If we start getting if we're looking at another right back and another center back possibly later on in the transfer window, I don't know what his future is going to be, because I don't trust him at center back, and I don't think many other people do either. But yeah, it was between him and Trippier. But Trippier kind of was a revelation, like you said earlier. Newcastle, he's part of their defensive strategy. He can whip a ball in from anywhere on the pitch, basically. And I think he learned a lot in his time at Atletico Madrid, and he's just become a real complete defender now. So yeah, I'd take him at Arsenal right now as well. And I just put Sermo in there, man, because he's got so much pedigree with winning trophies. Party really fell off for me during the back end of the season. And even certain times when we were winning games, I think Party rarely got a 9 out of 10. If we go back and look at some of the old videos that a lot of us have seen or done, I think it's pretty rare we've seen Party with even more than a 9 in some of those games, to be honest. So I think Casermo there completely changed Man United's defense and their attack. I mean, completely changed the club and brought them up to a level.
He's changed that midfield massively. Absolutely massive.
Yeah, just a huge effect. Kevin De Bruyne, what can you say? Absolute class. And there's not really another mid that can really compare to him in the Premier League right now, but possibly Odegaard and possibly Bruno. But also I felt bad for him and his injury in the Champions League. I did want Inter to win, but I felt horrible for him getting injured again, like he did a couple of seasons ago in the final. Yeah. And he just like Jez says, he just oozes class all over. His first touch is phenomenal. His shot's phenomenal. His vision, he can ping a pass, and he's the complete midfielder on one of the best teams ever. So there you go. And with Odegaard, I put him in there because 15 goals scored, and we've needed a goal-scored midfielder for I don't know how long, many years. And his flicks on the ball, I don't think the leadership's there, but that's something that'll be developed over time. I hope he hits the weight room and puts some pounds on and actually goes back and looks at games where he's disappeared and has learned from them. I think he's a very, very intelligent guy. I'm sure he comes from a very, top intellectual family and so forth. And he's just, all around just a good person. But he is a quiet leader, but he has to work on the leadership skills. But this season, he was absolutely phenomenal in most of the games. And I got to go with my man Martinelli. He was always pressing, always fighting. He didn't get the goals I thought he would this season. Unfortunately, got injured at the end. I wanted to pick his head up. When he's getting in the box, you notice his head's down a bit. I think that's something that he'll learn and get better at. But I got to go with Martinelli. And Jared Bowen, I threw in there. Kind of a curveball.
He was their best player this season, in my opinion.
Exactly. And you know what? If he doesn't keep his composure in that goal and he flanks it or hits a post, they don't win a trophy, possibly.
Yep.
And to keep your composure at the very end of the game and to run onto that ball and finish the way he did, he completely brought West Ham to just – it was incredible. Incredible goal, incredible game and celebration. And Jared Bowen is a top winger, doesn't get the praise. But yeah, I got to put him over Saka because Saka really disappointed me in the last few games, to be honest. I was really, really upset with him and his performance. And I thought some of his attitude wasn't the best. I love him to death. He's my star boy, but Bowen was absolutely phenomenal this season.
Great. Nice one. Great team. I will ask actually a question at the end, but I think we all know the answer, but I'm going to let Jez do his team. In my opinion, great team, Dal. Honestly, and I do like that we've had a change in some positions because I think if we had all the same players, this would be a boring stream. So I like diversity and keeping it different. Quickly going to go through the chat. Big up to all the real ones in the chat. We've got Drew Gooners in here. We've got EVB David, Jaminho, of course. We've got Anthony, Mama Flossie, of course, as well. Back again. Big up to all you guys. Please make sure to leave a like and, of course, subscribe to TJ's channel as well. TJ isn't here today because he is at a wedding event, but he will be back for the next stream. I think he's doing a call-in show soon. So make sure you guys subscribe and stick around for that. Jez, you've been eagerly waiting to give us your team, man. So feel free to begin and go through your team of the season with us, man.
Right, okay. Well, TJ contacted me yesterday. I thought, I better look into this.
Yeah.
So, my goalkeeper of the season is actually David Raya from Brentford.
Wow.
And I've gone with him because he's only one of 4 players in the Premier League that played every minute of the 2022-2023 23 season, of which he made 152 saves and saved 77%. So that's a fabulous statistic. So he's gone down as my goalkeeper.
What do you think about him going to Spurs, Jez? Because he's now been linked with Tottenham.
Yeah. Hope not.
Quality goalkeeper.
He's top class. He's top class. But stranger things have happened. If I tell you what, if he went to Tottenham, I think he's making a big mistake myself, personally.
I think Brentford. If Kane leaves, I think Brentford could be closer if they had the same team. With obviously Ivan. Well, then again, Ivan Toney will be missing for a while. I do think they'll probably have more chance of getting an actual European spot than Tottenham next season if Kane does leave. But hey,
well, that's an interesting one for debate. That's interesting.
Definitely.
Okay, let's look at my left back. I'm biased. Sorry, Kieran Tierney all day for me. I think he's the best left back in the Premier League, and I think why he hasn't been utilised more. I just don't understand it. If it's a personality thing, I think it's madness, personally. But, yeah, Kieran Tierney for me all day. Centre-back, Manuel Akanji, Man City. I think is absolutely world-class. I'm sorry. I really had to look at it. I had to look at this. Would I put him in there over William Saliba, Gabriel?
There's a show.
He's in a title-winning side at the end of the day. You know.
Well, I had to take my biased side of me away and give it. I had to give a what's the word? A conjective view. Like I could have gone down the road. William Saliba has been iconic. Sadly, we lost him through injury, so he didn't finish the season. But yeah, I'm sorry, Manuel Akanji, I think it's been immense, personally. And my other centre back is Ruben Dias. I think he's actually class. He's had a fabulous season.
100%.
He bossed Arsenal. Let's get it right. So big respect to him.
What a centre back.
That basically is that sorted out. And I'll go with you guys, Kieran Trippier, Newcastle.
Yeah.
I think he's been immense. Fabulous. How we never got him, I just do not know. We could have had him. Could have
before Spurs. Before he went to Spurs?
Yes. We could have had him before he went to Spurs.
Yeah.
And we just didn't do it. I mean, I don't know. This is where it does. Really, this is where it annoys me.
I thought he'd come in because he came into Newcastle. I think he was 30 when he came into from Atletico Madrid. I thought 30-year-old Trippier doesn't play many games for England anymore. Will he really make an impact? And by God, was I wrong? Because as soon as he came into that team, the leadership that he brought into that side was it just completely flipped that team over. And what a crucial player he is to that side. And again, I don't think he missed many games the season just gone either.
I respect him a lot just for going to Atletico Madrid and playing somewhere else. Learning from Simeone, learning the Liga way of football, right? The Simeone football, and then coming back and then having an impact on Newcastle. It's a phenomenal story, really.
But apparently Simeone plays negative football, guys. So.
Apparently, he's not good enough for Arsenal.
you can see it there that he doesn't. But yeah, what a player Trippier is, and yeah, we can all say that we've happily put him in the right back position. So fair play to you there, guys.
Yeah. At the end of the day, so did a certain George Graham played negative football, but he used to win stuff. Defensive midfielder for me is Rodri. What I like about him, he's an arsehole. He causes trouble.
Yeah.
He winds people up. He gets under their skin. Very much, as we remember, Didier Drogba loved scoring against Arsenal, loved winding Arsenal up, and always scored. Rodri is a class player. You can't deny that. So he's my man in there. And I'm going with this one. Declan Rice, defensive midfield.
New Arsenal signing, maybe.
Is he worth 100 million? I don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think so. He's class. He's decent, but I don't think he's worth 100 million.
God, no.
Do you reckon English tax has to do with it, Jez? This whole English tax thing that apparently English players are now more expensive because of the tax. Do you reckon it's got anything to do with that?
I don't know, mate. I really don't know on that.
Maybe it's because he's West Ham's most important player that they're not going to let him go for it. I thought that was awful. The fact that we offered 80 and they wanted 100, I thought was just ridiculous. But
it's the same crap, Connor. You know, the players 80, like Caicedo, players 80, we offer 65. It's stupid. It's embarrassing. You know, is he a 100 million player? No. But as that's the price it's going to take to move him in this market, then yes. I mean,
and if he's in Jez's 11, I want him.
Why do we continue to fight the market? I don't understand that. And that's the Wenger bullshit that's kind of entrenched in the club still. Yeah. You know, it's just we think we can just pip these players by 15 or 20 million less, and the other teams look at us like we're fucking idiots. You know, it's just stupid.
That unfortunately is the management base we have.
Yeah.
Personally, I think he's an 80 million pound player. That's my personal view. West Ham want 100 million, and they're going to hang out for that 100 million.
Yep.
Because somebody at some point is going to come along, make the phone call, and say, "You want 100 mil? Fair dues. Here's 100 mil."
Jez, now Man City are apparently involved. They want it. And isn't that worrying? And wouldn't that be, how embarrassing would that be when the club clearly gave a number that they wanted?
Yeah,
we went ahead and given. It was 80 with 10 million add-ons, so it was 90. Still not enough, even though the club have said we want 100. If Man City go and steal it, how embarrassing will that be?
Again,
once again doing that, you know.
Man City could come with 101 million.
Yep, like that. And if I was Rice, I would go to Man City. Of course I would.
He would be part of 5 internationals of the England squad there, Connor.
Yep.
It makes sense. And Kevin De Bruyne is, KDB's 31 years old. Just saying.
If they come in and say 100 million to West Ham, and they say to Rice, Declan Rice, 400 grand a week, where's he going to go? He's going to go.
Yeah.
He's going to go 400 mil. If Arsenal come in and say, we'll offer you 95 and we'll give you 300, that ain't going to happen, is it?
Yeah.
Not going to happen. But that's another story.
Grand a week for Declan Rice.
That's crazy. Anyway, carry on with your team, Jez.
Sorry?
Carry on with your team.
Okay, attacking midfield for me, Kevin De Bruyne. I love that guy. I think he's an absolute legend, class, brilliant player. And I'm going to throw this one in there. I thought really hard about this one. This is going to be a game changer, and this will stir people up. I thought about Martin Odegaard.
Yep.
Wait for it. But I'm actually going to go with Granit Xhaka.
Jesus.
Wow. Holy shit, Batman.
Oh, my God.
Let me quantify that. Let me quantify that. Let me quantify that.
I think I got to vomit 1 second.
Now, we all know how I feel about Granit Xhaka. Yeah. But he has had his best. He's done a Robin van Persie. He's had his best season in 7. And fair play to him. He's stepped up to the mark.
Yeah.
He's shown some ability. He's done what he had to do. He's slotted in with goals.
Jez, how much vino have you had tonight, my friend? How many glasses of red have you had tonight?
Do you know what, Jez? Can I be honest with you? I didn't even think about him. I didn't even. And that's just down to me not even thinking, because do you know what? Yes, this is his best season he's had for Arsenal, and I can't lie. If we had Granit Xhaka like we did this season, but for the last 7 seasons, completely different player. He'd be such a different player. And fair play to you. I completely forgot. Honestly, imagine that. Yeah.
Well, last night and this morning, or this afternoon, should I say, when TJ said, Jez, can you come up with a team? I said, okay, mate, fair enough. I thought, well, I don't want to go into this blind. So I thought I'll go in and look at stats. And I'm not a stat person because I think a lot of it is like a bullshit. But I remember Robin Van Persie, he had that great, fantastic year. He then left Man U. Oh, and the only reason he went, because he saw no ambition from Arsene Wenger and Arsenal. He didn't want to go, but he saw that the club was never going to go forward. And he wanted to win trophies. And that's what he wanted. So you can't just disrespect the fella. And we've had many and many a player that's happened to at Arsenal Football Club, because we like to achieve greatness and then sit back on our laurels and go no further. So, yeah, it's a bizarre one, because as everybody out there will be shouting, clipping this, tweeting it, I don't like the guy as a person. The fact he disrespected the club, the fans, the badge, all that. But he's had a great season. He's contributed, and you have to show respect to the point that he was a major force in our midfield this season. And I am one person that will always say, you deliver in that shirt, that badge, I'll respect you. And this season, I respected him, and I've backed him.
Yeah,
I'm saying.
You had a great season, Jez.
Don't blame me, Jez. Don't blame me at all.
Can't argue, man.
I will always be fair to any player that turns up on that pitch with that club shirt on and that badge, the wrong badge, I have to tell you. But, yeah, I know it's weird, but it is what it is. My striker, obviously, Erling Haaland.
Of course.
Nobody else is going to pitch up on that, are they? Class. My other striker.
Oh, other striker.
You went 4-4-2.
This is going to be controversial.
Give it Harry Kane.
Harry Kane.
Listen, carried the Spurs team. Listen, Jez, if he wasn't in that Spurs team this season, they would have been a lot lower than 8th, if I can tell you that.
Yep.
But go on, Jez, tell us why.
That's my team. That's my team.
You put him in.
Are you going to do a manager of the season?
That's exactly what I was going to get onto. I wanted to find out what. But anyway, well, listen, that was 3, in my opinion, really good teams, and I like the diversity. We didn't all. There was some of the same players, but we didn't all go for the same, and I like that. You know, there's always a bit of diversity, and it doesn't keep everything from being boring. But listen, 3 great teams there, and I think we can all agree there's many players you can put in there. I think this was a very good, entertaining season, in my opinion. There was a lot of things that went on, even like. You look at the relegation battle this season. That people were still questioning it until the final game of the season. You know, I thought we had a very good, like overall as a Premier League season. I thought it was very good, very entertaining, and I think, in my opinion, I think it was better than last season. I think, and I do think that the Arsenal, unfortunately, to say it, the title race we were in, I think entertained it a lot because no one expected it. You know, it was exactly like the Leicester season, and although Leicester did win it and we didn't. It sort of gave me that because you didn't expect it. You know, everyone was going to walk into the season and say, yeah, Man City are going to walk for everyone. And the fact that we did, well, you can't really say compete because we didn't actually beat them in any games, but we did stay ahead of them for quite a while. But unfortunately, didn't stay that way. But I thought it was a really good season. But like I said, you could have had many people in those teams, you know. And listen, like I said, feel free to leave your teams in the comments, in the live chat, because I'd be really interested to see, is there any other players that we didn't mention that you put in your team? Because, like I said, many players you could put in there. But big up to everyone that's in the chat right now. Please make sure I keep reminding you to leave a like on the video and, of course, subscribe to TJ's channel. I'm not here permanently. Don't worry. I know I'm boring. I'm not here permanently. I'm not TJ.
You're not boring, bro. You're not boring.
I'm not TJ, but listen.
You're doing a great job.
Cheers, Jez. But he will be back for the next stream. But listen, yeah, manager of the season. And I don't think we're all going to say Pep. I know Pep did win the treble, but there is a couple names you can still throw in there. You know, Unai Emery turned that Aston Villa team Eddie Howe really did well with this new digital team. There are a good couple managers you can put in there. Maybe Mikel Arteta you could put in there, possibly. Personally, I won't. I'll go with Jez first. Jez, who is your manager of the season for the Premier League?
Well, it's too obvious to go to Pep Guardiola. Awesome manager, world class, probably the best manager in the world right now. Easy shout. No, I'm not going down that road. I then thought about Eddie Howe, Newcastle, done an amazing job.
Mm-hmm.
I never entertained Arteta because he failed.
Yep.
And sorry, that's not happening. So my man is Robert the Zerba of Brighton.
Yeah. Got him into Europe. Good choice there, Jez. Good choice. We know we faced the wrath of him. Literally, the week before the Arsenal game, when we lost, what was it, 3-0, you're going to see the real Brighton. We all laughed. Well, people did laugh and said, what's he on about? Came to the Emirates the next week and destroyed us. Completely destroyed us. And I've got to tell you, man, some of the players that performed in that Brighton team this season, Matoma, Solly March was fantastic. Levi Colwill was great. Lewis Dunk was fantastic. So many players. And I'm not going to lie, and no disrespect, that Brighton team ain't that great, but he made them look fantastic. He made them look absolutely great. And they've got a European spot now, the Europa League. And I think they can compete in it. I generally do. They've brought in Mohamed Mahoud, is that it, from Dortmund? On the free. They've brought in João Pedro from Watford, in my opinion, a good young talent. They've brought in James Milner for a bit of experience. I know he's getting on now, but they've brought him in for a year. Could bring in that factor of experience. I think they're going to do well in the transfer window. They've already made 3 signings and we've made 0. What does that say? And but listen, great choice there, Jez. Honestly, really great choice. Dow, who are you going to go for?
I'm going to go for Eddie Howe.
Yeah.
Just yeah. I obviously didn't rate him much at Bournemouth, but wow. He has them playing like a machine. In the last few games of the season, I think they dropped a few points, but they were already in third, living comfortable. I was calling him the English Pep for a while. Of course, I got shot down for that. But what he's done to bring them, I think, from 17th to 3rd.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's crazy. And that really, to me, is more of a story than Arsenal getting second with nothing. And I know Newcastle didn't get a silverware at the end of the day, but they have a very, very good spot in the Champions League, top 4, or was it top 6 this season? I forget. The next season, is it 6 English teams or 4?
Yes. It is.
Or the following season. I know it's changing. The format's changing. But anyway, big up to Eddie Howe. Big up to Mama Flossie and all the Magpies, the Toon Army, who've been fighting for this. I slightly remember the 96 Kevin Keegan rant that somehow made its way to Oregon from England in 96, because there was some football shows late at night, and I kind of remember Newcastle, the team. I have actually some close friends that are big Newcastle fans. Actually, Newcastle has a very big following just in the Portland area alone, and I'm sure through Seattle, San Francisco, West Coast. With that said, what a player, Joelinton. Bruno Gomes, we wanted him at Arsenal. I wanted him at Arsenal really bad because he was fantastic at Lyon. Alexander Isak, and I think another player we forgot to mention too was Almiron.
Yeah.
Almiron. The beginning he had of the season, he was absolutely fantastic on the right wing. Assisting goals, scoring goals, defending, getting back, whipping in corners, set pieces once in a while when Bruno wasn't on it. And then of course injuries happened. But Eddie Howe deserves, I think, manager of the year for getting Newcastle 3rd place, because that was completely out of the blue. Mama Flossie knew it was going to happen for sure, but it was completely out of the blue, I think, for all of us. We'd never, ever, I don't think anyone in any chat and anything thought Newcastle was going to finish in the top 4. No way. So big up to Eddie Howe and the Toon Army.
I hope he does fantastic. I think they're going to keep. Obviously, they're going to keep building. They've got the money. and I know you can definitely say money's played a part in it, but I generally think Eddie Howe has just revolutionised the side because they didn't make. I can't remember how many signings they made last season. I know they brought Botman in. Trippier was already there.
5 or 6, I think.
They did bring in Nick Pope. They made some decent signings, but you can't deny. Look at the likes of Joel Linton, like we said earlier, Dow. He was bantered and just completely ridiculed by a lot of Newcastle fans. And too right, he was awful when he first arrived. 40 million record signing. And look at him now. He is absolutely fantastic for them. He's a crucial part of their team. And he's found the position that he needs to be as midfielder. He's not a striker. He's a midfielder.
Right.
And what a manager he is. What a manager he is. And I do hope he stays at Newcastle for a while because I think he can get them places. And I do not see why not Newcastle can be challenging not only for top 4, but for silverware next season. Maybe a cup.
They've got the defense, Connor, and that's, I think a lot of us know that's kind of where it starts. You got to have a solid defensive foundation and go from there. And Botman is a rebel. Botman's an incredible player, obviously. Who's next to him? Oh, Fabian Schär. I think he's not in years. He actually had a
Dan Burn at left back. I forgot about Dan Burn.
I don't know if I'd want a left back that's 6'4", but it works for Newcastle, right?
Does.
And so, and right, they have an endless amount of money as well. Yeah. And don't be surprised if Madison and Tierney don't go there. I hope Madison. I would rather see Madison come to Arsenal than anywhere, but I'd rather see him go to Newcastle than down the lane. But I think you add some creative with Madison in there with Bruno and Jolinton, and maybe change up the formation a bit. I don't know if that midfield's that strong defensively, but they're definitely, if you had a mix of Madison and Bruno and Jolinton on the ball and attack, it doesn't look good for defenses if they're in the room.
100%. And when we went to Newcastle, when I watched on the telly, it's different when you're on the telly and when you're there. But when I was watching it, we went away and we did beat them. And I was very proud of the team that day. I thought we'd walk there and get absolutely smashed. I did. I was really proud of the team when they went there 1-2 another day. But the fans, just unbelievable. That whole I've never had the privilege to go to St James's Park. Like Jez said multiple times, it's fantastic when you went. I'd love to go there, and obviously sitting up in the gods when you're in the away end. But when I heard it was so hostile. Like I was worried. I was like, and every time a Newcastle player made a tackle, the raw fans, the real community club, and they're all together on it. And just what a team they're creating. Like God knows what they're going to do in the window. I mean, the fact that they're linked to the likes of Neymar just says it all, doesn't it?
Right, and that sounds so weird, right? To put Neymar with Newcastle, it just sounds weird. It sounds like a real made-up FIFA team, right? But if there's money, like Jez said, if the money's there 100%. And the right support system and management team are there, the player will go there. Neymar probably doesn't know where Newcastle is on the map, right?
Yeah, exactly. So listen,
the thing is that if they can at least get in that market for those type of players, that says a lot, And that's also not. Remember, Moussa Diaby was linked there as well, and that's not over either.
But good choice there. Manager of the season. Yeah, I'm not going to go for Pep because obvious answer. Even though he probably is up there. Well, he is there. Sorry. I'm not going to go for Arteta just on the basis that he did up bottling everything, literally everything. We didn't get anything in the end. Although I was happy with the majority of the football we played, but nope, didn't get anything in the end. Eddie Howe's definitely there. I would have put Thomas Frank up there, but if he maybe got Conference League with them. But then again, top 10, they're above Chelsea. They were chasing Tottenham. They didn't unfortunately get them in the end. I could have put him there, and obviously they're my local team as well, so I could have put him there. But I am going to go with Eddie Howe. I just think he's fantastic. Honestly, what a manager. Because when he arrived, I thought, okay, he was at Bournemouth, and obviously Bournemouth weren't great at the time, but they're still, to be fair, they have stayed up, so fair play to him. And I was like, is this just to sort of fill in after Steve Bruce, just to sort of keep them there? But by God, the fact that you've taken them from the relegation zone, not just mid-table, maybe Conference League, you've taken that club to Champions League football. And in my opinion, it doesn't get any better than that. Well, it does, winning a title. But in terms of taking them from a relegation battle where Steve Bruce was just, in my opinion, not just Steve Bruce, the ownership, the guy who ran Sports Direct here in the UK, was just all piling down. And the fact that he came in and took them up and now got them in the Champions League football Tuesday and Wednesday nights, I just think is fantastic. And every single Newcastle fan deserves this because they've had years, maybe even decades of just crap. Absolutely crap.
It's hard to imagine Newcastle at New Camp or San Siro or something.
Yeah, but do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they compete. I think they could even compete better than us next season in the Champions League, honestly. And honestly, teams need to watch out for them, man. They're on it. But yeah, it's got to be Eddie Howe for me. Just what he's done to that team, and I think he's going to be even better next season. I don't see them stopping. But yeah, that is our team of the seasons, manager of the seasons. We're going to go for a bit longer, and big up to everyone in the chat. Once again, the chat is going. We do have 15 people in there. Like I say, please make sure to leave a like on the stream, guys. We are going to go into a different segment now. Of course, the Premier League fixtures got released the other day. And we're going to go through them. Well, not all of them, because obviously we'll be here forever. But we're going to go through some in particular. And I do have them here. Here we go. So, on my birthday, actually, August 12th, we do begin with Nottingham Forest. And I was actually quite surprised. I thought it would be the first game. But it is Burnley v Man City, which I find quite ironic. Company versus his old club. But Nottingham Forest at home. Now, and you look at Crystal Palace and Fulham. I'm going to go to Jez. They're the first 3 games. Are you predicting all wins for that? I know we're early on in the transfer window. We haven't done much business yet. And obviously we're going to wait to see until August. But you see those first 3 games, then we've got Man United after. What do you reckon? Do you reckon Arsenal would start off well in those first 3 games?
Yeah, I'm going to go win, win, win.
Okay. Because Crystal Palace away normally can be tricky, but then again, we have turned up recently.
But last year, even with Paddy Vieira there, mate, let's be honest, we took them apart. They were pretty poor. I don't see much change in that. So I'm confident. Good start, Nottingham Forest. If we get the right players over the line, and I'm not talking about just buying 2 players, and I don't want a bloody Chelsea reject or again in Kai Havertz. Let's be sensible, act like the big club that Arsenal are, and I'm confident we could get a good start there, and that'll bring us in nicely. That'll bring us in nicely for Man United at home.
Definitely, and of course we always look at the Tottenham. For some reason, I always feel like they put the Tottenham games always in September and April. I don't know. They do, don't they? They always do. They always do that, don't they? But I do think, to begin with, and in no disrespect, I know maybe Long Hair Jetty might watch this on playback. They are fixtures we should be winning, and I really want us to go again. And we've got to really push this season for silverware. It's got to happen. We can't not be pushing for silverware at all. And I don't want Arteta to be ridiculing cups anymore, because I just think it's a disgrace. Because we need silverware in this club. We need silverware. It's been too long now. FA Cup in 2020 was it? It was 2020, wasn't it? When we won against Chelsea. I guess you could count the Community Shield, but hey ho. But it's been too long now, and we need silverware at this club. Now we look at it. We've got some in. When I first looked at this, I looked for the City games. And we do have City at home first, I believe. That's what it says. Yes, we do have City home first. Now, Dow, you look at this. And I know you can only read debate from fixtures, but if you look at this, right, where do you really think Arsenal are going to go this season? Do you reckon we'll be back in the title race again? Or do you reckon we'll be scrapping for 4th place once again? What do you reckon it was a one-season wonder?
I've defended the point that it hasn't been a one-season wonder, Connor, all season. I've been defending that it's not that, right? We're not the next Leicester City. However, looking at the full schedule, we're going to have a tough time in March.
Yeah.
We're going to have a tough time in April because Aston Villa will be better. Brighton will be better. Tottenham, if they get rid of Harry Kane, will probably be, if they get David Raya and get rid of Harry Kane and get a couple top players in, they will be better.
Yep.
And so I don't worry too much about the first 3 or 4 games. It's kind of in the back end I'm looking at. And May doesn't look too bad. Of course, the United game. But April looks bad, and March looks bad, and February looks bad. But I think that we're going to struggle. I do. I think that if we don't get 9 points out of those games, then we're already behind, right?
Yeah.
Because City, Liverpool, United, possibly Chelsea are going to be, with Pochettino, Chelsea are going to be much better than they were last season.
100%.
And to write Chelsea off, who still, to me, on paper, have one of the best teams in the world, excluding Shai Havertz now. But, it's a really mixed schedule, isn't it?
Yeah,
there's not really a run of. I mean, you can look at December with Wolves, Luton, or maybe maybe November into December with Burnley, Brentford, Wolves, and Luton. And I don't want to go against Burnley either because Kompany's a winner and he'll have them well drilled.
Yes.
And he'll know what to do against Arsenal.
I reckon they could be they'll stay up. I do think they'll stay up.
I think they'll stay up, but they're going to struggle for top 10.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh yeah. I think I definitely think he'll keep them lower mid-table. I don't see him going down because I do think he's learnt a lot in his career. It didn't work for him that well in Belgium, but he came to the Championship and he blasted it out the park. I know Burnley was the favourites to get promoted. They probably had the better choice of players, but they still blew it out the park. They were fantastic. I think did they get over 100 points last season?
I think so.
I think they did, yeah. He's someone to watch out for. And I do think a lot of people are saying, oh, it's all right, because apparently every Champions League group stage game we're going to have, we've got a home game straight after on the weekend. People are saying, oh, that's good then. And I'm like, well... Okay,
if someone's figured that out, more power to them.
And I'm just like, well, that can't be the case because there's been many times where we have lost at home. So, hey, listen, but I look at it, if I look at it from here, right, Forest, Palace, Fulham, Man United, Everton, Tottenham, Bournemouth. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't see why we can't win all those games, August to September. Why shouldn't we? I mean, Man United is going to be a test, but it's at home, and we normally do beat them at home.
Fulham could be a test. It's Fulham at home, but I mean, if they get better though, that's the thing. I don't know who Fulham's bringing in that will make them better. But you're right. Out of those four, Manchester United by far is the most challenging. But there's from what we've seen, Connor, there's no guarantee. Yeah, with Crystal Palace, there's no guarantee. Until we really see first off, what our starting 11 is. I mean, it's just if we have Declan Rice, is he going to make the difference in the Man United game? I'm not so sure. But Forest, I think will win. Crystal Palace will win, but I think there could be a little bit of a bobble at Fulham, depending, on how we perform and they perform, because they're
exactly, and they've got quality players in their team still. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Jez, I'm going to throw this to you. We look at last season. They definitely, in terms of league position, Arsenal exceeded our expectations. We didn't think we'd be in a title race whatsoever. Shame we didn't win anything in the end to show for it, which is what it is. It's how everything went, unfortunately. You look at this season. Do you think we can do it again, or do you just think one season wonder? You're sitting here now. It's only the start of the window. We don't know what our team's going to be. We don't know what business we're going to do yet. But the way things looking, I think it's going to be another window where it's one really good player, then the rest are going to be if buts and maybes. What do you think for next season, Jez? What are your early predictions for this next season? Do you think?
Well, mate, you've hit the nail right on the head. We can't rely on just buying one great player.
Yeah,
we know. We've seen. We talk about it all the time. It's rinse and repeat. Everybody talks about it, and it gets to the point where you think, well, if we keep talking about it, then surely Arsenal must talk about it, because we need to develop the squad. We're now in the Champions League coming up, and right in that mix of those fixtures, we have the Champions League. So we cannot rely on the squad we have. So buying a player like Havertz, dear God, Declan Rice, Caicedo, we need backup players. Yep. We need a backup for William Saliba. We need a backup for, dear God, Zinchenko, because I'm pretty convinced Kieran Tierney will be gone.
Yep.
So my prediction: will we go again with the right squad, the depth that we need? And I'm talking 8 players. 8 players.
Mhm.
We can go again.
100%.
And I actually sitting here looking at this because I haven't really studied this before. I've seen it come out. I haven't just studied it, but it's quite interesting how the fixtures work. Because years ago, it was always the derby games for the big teams were always around December, April, because the FA wanted to keep fans local around Christmas, around Easter, mainly because of travel restrictions, trains, and all that. Nowadays, it's a total different scenario because a lot of people make their own way there. So that's fine. So it's quite interesting that I'm looking at December. We're home to Wolves, away to Luton, away to Aston Villa, and home to Brighton. Totally different. Totally different. Back in day, we would have been playing Tottenham home or Tottenham away. We would have been playing Chelsea, and we would have been probably playing the ilks of something like West Ham. It's all to keep it local. But I love this now because it's all a mixture. It's a mishmash.
Yeah.
It mixes it all up. But to answer your question, Connor, unless we actually do the business, which I have no confidence whatsoever, Garlic and Edu will do, then it could be a very, very disappointing time because from what I see that they're continually doing, again, we are being linked to everyone and we'll get no one. So that's Arsenal.
That's the way it's looking like. Listen, we've gone through the fixtures here. We've still got a bit of time to go. I think we'll go for maybe another 20 more minutes. I do want to talk to you guys about transfers, because we are now in the months of the long-awaited, always on Twitter, all these reports. We're linked to this player, we're linked to that player. I'm going to go through, I've been on Twitter, I've picked up a couple of bits. I'm going to go through a bit of news and we're just going to go for it for the next 20, 25 minutes and then we'll probably shoot off. Some news has come out. Obviously, England did play Malta tonight. We did win 4-0 to get us closer up to getting qualified for the Euros. However, there is some Arsenal news coming out of that game. That Saka was subbed off due to an injury. Now, I'm worried about this now for next season. I've had a thought about it while you guys were chatting. I'm now worried that because Arteta has been playing this young kid very much, and we know he was playing on an injury at the end of the season. He was playing on an injury, but we still played him. When we could have played Reece Nelson, because we were done. The league was done. We lost the league. We could have played Reece Nelson. We could have played Smith Rowe. By God, we could have played Fabio Vieira on the wing if we wanted to. We've done it before, if it really came down to it. We know he was injured. And now the fact that he's been injured in this multi-game, and maybe I'm just overlooking it, and maybe I'm going a bit too hasty. Could Arteta possibly be making this guy into an injury-prone player? Because we're just constantly... We're not giving the guy a break. What do you two think about it? He's now got an injury. It hasn't been reported what it is, but he's picked up an injury and had to be subbed off mid-game. So are you guys worried that maybe now during the season, because now we've signed Reece Nelson up, I know we're linked with Moussa Diaby, who's a winger from the Bundesliga, very quick, French. But if we don't get a winger this summer and we're left with the likes of Reece Nelson, who's all right, but he's not what we need.
No.
And if Saka does turn out to be more injury prone this season, in my opinion, we're screwed. So what do you two think about that? Are you worried now that Arteta's sort of messed him up a bit? What do you think?
Yeah.
Go Jez.
Why is he even playing? Why is he even there?
Yep.
If I'm Mikel Arteta, knowing he finished the season on an injury, I would be saying to Southgate, sorry, mate, he ain't joining you guys. He's having the summer off. He needs a rest. So we'll see you later. If I'm the manager, I'm putting my foot down and saying, no, he ain't playing. I'm calling him from that squad. Yeah. He's got a problem. He needs to rest up. He needs maybe an operation. God knows what. Yeah, God, I hope not. It's an operation. But I wouldn't let him go.
Yeah.
No, he ain't coming.
Well,
You don't need him against Malta. You do not need Bukayo Saka against bloody.
I looked at the team. They had 40-year-olds on the pitch. Do you really need Harry Kane, Bukayo Saka,
Exactly.
all this talent on the pitch? And there's no disrespect to the people of Malta and their team, but really, do you really need them on the pitch? Come on.
No, you don't. You know,
Exactly.
you could have put out there. You could have. I mean, I'm not being,
21s.
I'm not being disrespectful to Malta football, Malta. But you could have put a team out there of 23-year-olds. Give them a go, because 23-year-olds will play with their heart because they've got something to prove.
Yeah,
I'm sure a lot of those players tonight really didn't want to be there. They're probably thinking, shit, I want to be on a beach in Jamaica. I want to be with my wife and kids on Antigua or the Maldives or God knows where these people go. They don't want to be in bloody Malta. You know, sweating the nuts off. They're thinking, really? Give me a break. Let me go.
Take Reece Nelson there instead of Saka.
Exactly. There's multiple players on the bench that they could have put on for it.
Yeah, it's stupid. I don't understand Gareth Southgate. I don't understand his thinking. And I thought, like, wasn't Fergie back in the 90s, like, put his foot down on that stuff?
Yeah, he did.
People wanted Beckham and Giggs and blah, 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 and Scholes and Neville. And Fergie was like, that's like 7 players on my squad. No, you can have 2, right?
Yeah.
2 or 3. Right,
That's
Jez?
That's exactly how we should be talking. This is really worrying me, guys, because of the fact I've just seen that and the fact that he's just had an injury not even less than a month ago.
Right.
Is this something to come? And this is worrying me. And I'm not going to lie, and I'm not just going to blame Arteta because it's down to the medical team as well. But the fact that they just threw him out when he was on an injury, this is with Arsenal, and just played him, I feel like it's now going to come back to bite him. But listen, let's hope that this isn't major. And I don't think it's that bad because he didn't have to go off in a stretcher or anything. But fingers crossed it isn't bad. But listen, well done to England anyway for winning 4-0 tonight. I've just seen that Jakub Kiwior scored tonight against Germany. I think Poland are playing Germany. So big up to Jakub Kiwior for scoring.
I was going to put him in my team of the year.
We need cover in that defence. We have talked about this guy a couple of times, but I have seen an article. We bidded, apparently, reportedly, £55 million for Kai Havertz, which got rejected. Chelsea wants 75. Exactly. Chelsea wants 75. In my opinion, if Edu's got... I don't know if Edu actually understands how much of an important job at times he has at this football club. If he genuinely goes back to Chelsea and says, okay, I'll pay you that 75 because we want to be on good terms. These are our rivals, by the way. They are rivals. They're one of our London rivals. If we pay these guys 75 million, which is helping them, by the way, it's helping this club who could go down a really long way if they keep spending loads of this money. I was shocked at the fact they spent that much money last season, 600 million or 650. But if we're paying 75 million for this guy, he's not even worth anywhere near that. No. It's, in my opinion, guys, it's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. Maybe if we paid 25, I'd be like, okay, fair enough. 20, maybe 30. That's a push. 75 million pounds, and we've apparently got 200 million pound budget. So if we buy Declan Rice for 120, 75 for Kai Havertz, do the math. We've probably spent it all. Literally. What I don't understand what's going through Edu's mind. I really do not understand it, guys. And Jez, the fact that we've already seen that 55 has been rejected clearly sees that they want more, possibly above 75. And that's including wages, by the way. We could be going higher than that. And that's a club record fee if we pay 75. Because I think Pepe was 72. Jez, what is your opinion on Edu's plan? Because Edu, Vinay, whatever Garlic, whatever his name is, you know, what do you think is going on? Because I think it's a mess once again, honestly.
I mean, I've said this, Connor, before. Edu is clueless. he has no ability to negotiate. When he joined Arsenal, right, in his job, he came from the Brazilian Football Federation.
Mm.
He didn't have to negotiate fees. He didn't have to negotiate contracts. All he did was be on the panel to select players for the Brazilian international football team. So I don't understand where his experience and knowledge is, because I don't think he has any. He's not a negotiator.
No.
All he does is sit there, identify maybe players, then Garlic Head and Vinay get involved. And I think they are probably, if they are the negotiators, they're probably the worst two bloody negotiators in world football.
Yeah.
I would do a better job. I personally, having run my own business and been in negotiations, would do a better job.
Yeah.
Because, okay, I'm glad Chelsea have turned down 55 million. Okay, we tested the water. Now walk away. You've had, okay, thanks very much. We gave you the 50-55. You don't want it. Fuck off. We're going somewhere else. We're going to look at this guy down here now. Yeah, we're going here. Because that's all we think he's worth. And we're not paying any more.
Yeah.
So we move on.
I mean, you look at Real Madrid. Sorry, quickly, Dave. You look at Real Madrid. They said 50 million. That's it. That's all we're paying for him. That's the standard. I mean, I know 50 million is still a lot for Kai Havertz, but Edu, in my opinion, will be snuck in, and they'll mess around with him and say, "Oh, it's all right. Pay 60, pay 70. It's all right," and Edu will fall for it because it's happened before. And we're signing, but apparently, Jez, we're signing world class players now because we're in the Champions League. Apparently, we're now signing world class players. So is Kai Havertz world class? He scored. The thing that he's got on him at Chelsea is that he scored the Champions League winning goal. Well done. Congratulations. I mean, if that's your highlight, and the fact that you only scored 7 goals last season, and I know Chelsea had a bad season, I get that. But even when he came from the Bundesliga, I mean, he had 2 good seasons in the Bundesliga. I think he got 17, 12 goals in 2 seasons individually. But when he came from Germany and came to England, he wasn't that great. And he still isn't that great. And the fact that we're willing to pay 75 million and also match Chelsea's wage on him, which is apparently £250,000, Jez and Dow. It blows my mind how Edu still has a job at this football club. It really does. And they're going about it all wrong once again. Again.
And it will, man. It's rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. We'll go through all summer. Link to this player, link to that player, link to this player. And it will come down to the last 2 weeks of the season and end up buying nobodies that we don't know. They're young kids, probably one from Brazil that we could get for free, but we'll pay him £1 million, £2 million to be nice.
We'll get an American.
What? Somebody please somewhere. Why do we have to be nice? Why does Arsenal Football Club have to be nice? Why do we have to have good relations with Brighton? Good relations with Chelsea?
Those relations, Jazz, sorry to interrupt, but those relations is what fills in Edu's incompetency because he can't negotiate. So he says, well, we'll just get the player and give you $2 million to keep up a good relationship with me because he know how to negotiate. You know what I mean? So he's using the money to fill in the skill gap of what he fucking doesn't know.
Yep.
You know, does that make sense? What I'm saying, guys? Like, what he doesn't know, he just says, well, I don't know this or that, but we'll just give you $2 million, and next season we'll buy someone else from you, or next season we'll give you $500,000 and you give us your 17-year-old prospect or something. So I think he's filling in the shit he doesn't know with promises of financial backing to some of these small Brazilian clubs. And you said before, Jazz, he knows shit in Brazil. Brazil, last time I checked, isn't in Europe.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right? So if you're looking at Brazilians from the Brazilian national team and you have that, that Brazilian national team hat on while you're scouting, you're leaving out, like, I don't know, the most predominant football continent on the planet, and you're only taking the ones that are high money because you want the club to look good, like we're spending money. Declan Rice isn't someone we really want. Declan Rice is for us to prove to the other teams that we have the same sort of financial power. It's a power play. That's all it really is.
Yep.
Who has the most money to get this player? 1 week it's Declan Rice. The next week it's Kai Havertz. The next week it's Caicedo. And Firmino said it from day one. And I think Connor and probably even Carl Rossi, the Rice deal will go all the way to the end of August. There's no reason for him to jump ship right now. Exactly. There's no reason for him to join Arsenal now. Man City provide a much better prospect.
Yep.
This is going to be a major controversial statement. The way Arsenal acts with these big cost players, and we play silly games. I'm going to say this, guys. I'd rather we buy nobody than get raped.
I would rather spend $100 million and get 3 or 4 $25, $30 million players that are very, very good that we can implement into the team.
Look at the free transfer.
$100 million player. Watch him get crocked in the third week against fucking West Ham or something.
Look at the free transfers that are available there. Like Maddison is currently available. And we're looking at Havertz, who plays in the same position as him, but we can get him for cheaper because his team got relegated. And that doesn't mean that Maddison's crap. Maddison was one of his best. I would even take Harvey Barnes. I think he's fantastic. I think he's why? If we could, guys, if average normal football fans, if we can see this, right? And you even look at Tielemans. He's off to Aston Villa for a free. I know he wasn't that great last season, but he's a free transfer, Premier League proven player. We were linked with him at one point to actually pay money. The fact we now could have got him for a free, which is not happening because he is going to Villa, it's already confirmed. If we're average normal football fans, we have got no business in football, sporting, whatever it is, transfer business. Well, do you know what I say that? No, it's normal business. Like Jez knows, I say that. No, I completely disagree actually with my statement there. It's normal business. If we can see it, why can't these guys see it?
It's just an asset, Connor. Like Jez says, it's all business. We're just trading assets for money, basically, and trading assets for assets when you make loans and so forth.
Yeah.
And swap deals. It's infuriating to know that the money's there. Like Jez said, if you look at the coffers, it's online. You can look at the money. Yeah. To think that Declan Rice is worth $100 fucking million is absolutely stupid. That would be the biggest financial blunder we could make. Because if he gets crocked in the third or fourth game of the season, we're back to square one and $100 million out of our pocket. Yep. $100 million can get us 3 top players, probably one from La Liga, a couple, Benacator or whatever his name is from AC Milan. He's ready to go. We can go grab him.
Benacer,
players out there that are very, very good, that have Champions League experience. You can look at Inter, AC Milan. You can even, go as far as Noah Lang, the winger we were going to get 2 seasons ago from
Bruges.
Thank you.
Bruges,
and it's just there's so many more players out there, and I agree with Jez. Edu is just wearing blinders, and I think he's competing in these transfer races with this money thrown around as just a show of power to show that Arsenal are in there. We're not going to let Chelsea and United run everything. We got to prove to our fan base that and to our rival teams that we're in for the same players you are. And Kai Havertz, where the fuck's he going to play?
Yeah,
I don't know if he's a striker.
If we play him at attacking mid,
I have no clue.
If we play him at attacking mid, Dow, that's 4 attacking mids we've got in the squad. That's Odegaard, Kai Havertz, Smith Rowe, and Fabio Vieira. It's 4. Why are we looking into that? Why we need a DM, which is what we're looking at in Declan Rice, and we need someone to fulfill in Xhaka's position, so a box-to-box midfielder, which Declan Rice can do.
Right.
I'm just like, why are we looking into this? And I want to point out this because this is perfect from BVB David here. Real Madrid swiftly negotiated with Borussia Dortmund for Jude Bellingham, and the two clubs met at a price, and the deal was done. They paid about 100 million for him, which is the same as the Declan Rice deal. And I want to say something. Caicedo, we were looking into him, right, guys? And it's all this. Personal terms agreed. It's nearly there. We're nearly done. Chelsea came in 48 hours in, got him. And that is the difference between Arsenal and these other clubs. Real Madrid paid probably one of the, in my opinion, best midfielder prospects in the world. 19 years old, Jude Bellingham, English talent.
Right.
£100 million, a lot of money, but in my opinion, worth it. Got that deal done in less than a couple of weeks. This Declan Rice has been going on since start of last month.
Jude Bellingham is a much better player than Declan Rice and has Champions League experience already. Yeah. So that, in my book, okay, that's an 85, 90 million, 100 million player. Absolutely. Yeah. Declan Rice has done fuck all at West Ham but carry them and won them a Conference Cup. Other than that, he's not – he hasn't won anything that Jude Bellingham has won, or not even competed at the highest level that Jude Bellingham, constantly second, third place with Dortmund season after season in the Champions League the last 3 seasons. I mean, it's just – it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. I'm not taking away. Yeah, exactly. And I'm not taking the at the end of the day, the players can't control how much they're being bought for. Well, we know that. That's not down to them. It's down to the agents and that's down to the clubs. I like Declan Rice, and I know Jimino would kill me for that. I do, as a player, forgetting all the Ireland and England stuff, as a player, I like him. And I do think he can offer a lot to Arsenal. And I bet Declan Rice is probably sitting at home right now or on holiday, wherever he is right now, and saying, okay, and I do think he wants to come to Arsenal. I do generally think that's true. I think he does want to come to Arsenal because he wants to stay in London, reportedly. If I was him right now, I'd be thinking, fuck's sake, why is this not getting done? He probably wants to move at this point. Right. You know, he's going to have to move close to. Actually, I say they probably won't have to move closer to London because we're only down the road from where West Ham are. But it must even take a toll on him because if I'm Rice and I'm sitting here right now, and in my opinion, Arsenal are wasting my time. And I would actually feel, because if I'm Declan Rice and I'm reading the reports and I'm seeing, okay, right, they want to buy me. My club West Ham want to buy me for 100 million. All right, cool. That's out of my hands. That's not me. That's out of my hands. That's what they think I'm worth. Right. Fair enough.
That's what the market determines.
Exactly. Right? But I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, that club that want me have just offered 20 mil for what they've just asked. I'd actually feel quite angry, hurt.
Right.
Wow. So you really want me, but you're gonna. My club have asked you for a price, and you're going to pay that. City come in. I see. Wait, City coming in. Bayern Munich. I'm off. See you later. And people are saying Declan Rice to Man City. Calvin Phillips goes the other way. That is such a real life deal that can happen. And
right. Yeah, it's how much West Ham values Calvin Phillips, right? I mean, he's overweight. He hasn't played much at all last season. And I think if I'm West Ham, I want to take that 100 million. I want to spread that out over 3 or 4, maybe 5 positions, right? Because they want to stay up. They want to get top 10. They want to keep competing. But it's asinine to think that Declan Rice from a club like West Ham, all due respect, is worth 100 million pounds. Yep. When Jude Bellingham has done it over and over for Dortmund in group stages, I think maybe a quarterfinal, if I'm not wrong. Dortmund maybe in a quarterfinal. Yeah. Jaminho can help me with that. You know, playing in England, and he is 19. And they could do they're not going to do a 7-year contract, but I think they did a 5-year contract, which makes sense. And you know what, too, Connor? Real Madrid's going to offload.
Yeah, and you know how much they rate him when they've given him Zidane's number.
Yeah. They're going to offload. Right, yeah. They're going to offload. Yeah. They got it right. He's their new number 5, Zidane. They're probably going to offload, that Tukumani kid, maybe. I can't pronounce his name.
Oh, Tukumani.
They may offload, maybe Danny Ceballos, who's actually had an incredible season.
Believe it or not, he's actually signing a new contract. I'm just saying he's signing a contract.
Okay, I stand corrected. But there's players that like Lee has said in videos and Jez has said, because it's a cutthroat business and they're a top-run club.
Yeah.
And if they don't get performance out of a player, they have no qualms about letting them go within a year or two. Mm-hmm. And obviously we don't have that. We don't have that sort of financial backing, so forth. But to think that Declan Rice is just 100 million, I wouldn't even make that purchase on FIFA. I wouldn't even buy that on FIFA. Seriously. Who would? All you FIFA players out there, would you buy Declan Rice in FIFA for $100 million? Hell no. Football Manager? Hell no.
Yeah.
What does Declan Rice bring that's so dynamic and incredible? I don't see it. I think he's a midfielder, but who cares? There's a dime a dozen. We can go to the French La Liga. Go look at Zubamendi. That guy's class too.
Yeah.
And he's half the price.
I completely understand you, mate. And I do, in my opinion, I do think Declan Rice can offer a lot in Arsenal's midfield. I get you. It's the price tag. The price tag is the problem. We all know that Declan Rice does not cost £100 million. Because if you compare that to, and I think Real Madrid did buy Bellingham for 88, but wages and all that, I do think it did end up adding up to 100 million. Yeah. And don't forget, we've got to pay Declan Rice's wages, which will probably be more than 100 million. I do get you on the point where he doesn't cost that. And it's a shame, but at the end of the day, he can't control it. But listen, I want the player, and if he's going to cost 100 million, so be it. Edu, for God's sake, just pay the money, man. We've got it. We generally have it. Listen,
I want to shoot over him, but that's not going to happen.
Can I just throw this comment in?
Sure.
We've got Champions League.
Yeah.
And all the big boys out there shouting it with all the big names, all the people out. We're going to attract world-class players.
Yeah.
Where are they?
Exactly.
They're not exactly queuing up at the door.
Barcelona, mate.
Or London Colney.
Yeah.
So why are we pontificating with the likes of Havertz,
Castagne, like a crap right back from Leicester?
Why are these players not knocking on the door and saying, "Oh, mate, Arsenal Football Club, yeah, you're back in the Champions League. I want to come and play for you, boys. Yeah, you've got a young manager, the best Spaniard in the Premier League. You know, it's pathetic, and that's what annoys me with these channels out there on YouTube that come out of all this bullshit. And unfortunately, there's so many young people out there that fall for it, and they follow it, believe in it, and they're like lemmings. They are just lemmings. They will follow it down the road, and they'll say, "Oh, well, yeah, because this guy says, we're going to attract him. We're going to get him. We're going to get Declan Rice. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's great, brilliant, and we'll pay over the top."
Yeah.
And the Assemble says, "Jez, do you believe actually will actually sign him?" No. No.
Well, the way we're moving now, I've got less hope now. The way we've been moving. I mean, if I was West Ham and I got the call from Arsenal, right, guys, we told them it's 100 mil, right? It's Arsenal. It was probably going to be done there. Oh, you want 80? I'd have blocked the number. I would have blocked the number. I think that's disgraceful, especially for a club of our stature. You know what they want. Stop being cheapskates. Give them the money. If you want the money that badly, Edu, Arteta, Vinay, Garlic, talk to your boss. Talk to Josh. Talk to Stan. We need money. That is what it is at the end of the day. And it feels like they're afraid to speak to them at this point. Because it's very clear that we don't have 300 mil, 400, 500. We don't. 200, which is a lot in football. I say that. Prices are rising. But there are teams lower down the Premier League that would wish for 200 million a season, which 100% I understand. But for Arsenal, it isn't enough. And the fact that we are going to have to spend half of that on one player, if we get him, it's very clear that Edu knows he doesn't have enough money. Well, Edu, mate, how about grow some and ask and maybe debate with the board to try and get some more cash coming into the club? Because it's not happening. But listen, it is what it is. And I'm going to quickly finish on one more question that was from Jamina, because he did ask earlier and we didn't get to answer it. And this is an interesting one. Would Rice be worth this much if he was still Irish? And again, this has got to do with the whole English tax thing. And that is quite interesting, because I don't think he maybe would. Because now I think there's a thing, Jez, with, I don't know if you know, with English tax. Apparently, I think there's an added on bonus if you're an English club and you're buying an English player. I think it's more. There's something to do with it. But in my opinion, I think he would be less. In my opinion, if he was Irish. That's just my opinion on it.
Well, that's a very interesting point. I'm not going to profess to know great details about this sort of thing. So I don't. So I think I'm a bit unqualified to make that comment. But if a player is regarded, this is my opinion. Okay, my opinion. If a player is valued or assessed as being of a level of quality, I personally don't think it makes a difference because when we had likes of Liam Brady, Frank Stapleton years ago before you were even around, Connor, they were sold for big money at the time. You know, I mean, we're talking a long time ago, 70s, late 70s. They were sold for big money because they were that valued. So I don't know. I don't know. Would it make a difference if he was Irish or English? I'm not sure. I really don't know. I think you have to. My opinion is this: if the player is valued at being that good, whether he's Scottish, Welsh, Irish, English, personally, I don't think it makes a difference.
Yeah,
personally.
Fair enough. Dad, got anything to add on that?
No, that's more for you guys across the pond. I don't know if there's any bias in that at all. And I think Jabinho has a point, though. There probably is, right? In some ways, maybe there's more of the history there of that you guys would know more than I would. But I think he's probably got a good point. But yeah, if he was Irish, he'd probably be worth 35 mil. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, listen, we're going to end the stream there. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I think we've had pretty much 20 people in there non-stop. Thank you very much for sticking around. I was a bit shaky at the start, I'm not going to lie. I'm taking over someone's channel, and this is very important to TJ, and I have the utmost respect for him, so I tried to make this show as good as he's normally here, so I hope I've done that. Dal, thank you very much. You're always a fantastic... Cheers, man. You're always a fantastic co-host, Dal, and thank you very much for keeping me on the wave here. And Jez, of course, absolute legend. Thank you very much for coming back on the American Idiot Show. I'm not American myself, but I feel American today. I feel American today as I'm the host.
Get your baseball cap on backwards and get a beer in your hand.
Wait, here we go.
There you go.
We put the baseball cap on. Here we go.
There we go. Now we're American.
I should have done this at the start. There we go. I'm a true American now. But yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. Honestly, I really appreciate it. Please make sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to TJ's channel. His content's fantastic, and he's a great guy, and he really deserves it. So please, if you're new or watching on playback, please feel free to subscribe. It's only one button. So Dow, please shout out your socials, man, and what can we be expecting from you?
Thank you very much, Connor. Excellent job today. You totally killed it. But like you said about TJ, some things we've talked about. Connor's been mentioning some of the stuff too. We're hoping to maybe give some giveaways this summer, maybe some game cards and so forth. If you're into gaming, PlayStation cards, Xbox stuff, maybe T-shirts. So we'd like to do more contests, and I know that's on the horizon. So definitely look out for that. And second of all, thanks for everyone in the chat. If without all of you here, we wouldn't be here. Yeah. Love all the comments from each and every one of you. Please subscribe to everyone here. I'm Oregon Goon on YouTube. Connor on Instagram, Jez on YouTube and Instagram. I'm gone actually next Friday, but TJ will be back. Going up to Seattle for the weekend, so that'll be fun. But great stream, Connor. Great seeing everybody. Jez, as usual, the legend in the house for sure. And let's have a great weekend, guys.
Jez, please shout out your socials, man. Shout out your channel.
Arsenal history and more. Haven't done. It's tricky at the moment trying to come up with content. I keep saying this, and I will do it. I promise. I get people all the time say, "Jez, do the history, and I will. But I'm going to do Stroke. I'm going to do some shows, and I've got the next big quiz coming up with Kenny Ken, Kyle Walsh, and. Connor, you coming on that one?
100%. I'm on that. I'm going to try because I believe it's about the Premier League season just gone, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to be on that. 100%. I think I can
It is, and and I think Anthony is coming on, Anthony Herbert as well. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun. It's all a laugh. It's not serious, you know. But I'll be setting that up very shortly. It's just a matter of getting everybody together. It's tricky. But Connor, top fella tonight, man.
Cheers.
You hosted this brilliantly, and you need to do more of it. That's for sure.
Well, listen, I've got a channel. It's got about 350 subscribers. So, hey, listen, maybe if I've got the time, I can maybe start some streams of my own. We'll see. But legend here, TJ himself. I hope I've done a good enough job for you today, man. We wish you were here. I hope all was going well for you down that wedding event, man. I hope you're killing it. And yeah, you can follow me on Instagram. My socials are Instagram, cmo.editing. I do editing for a load of people on social media. I've done actual work for Adele and Jez here, and I do all the work, as you can see here, and on TJ's channel, I do it all for him and loads of other people as well. And yeah, feel free to follow me on that. And I also do have an Arsenal news page, just where I show more of my editing skills and I get all the Arsenal latest news. So please do follow me on that. I'm trying to get to 100 followers on there. It's proper.arsenal on Instagram. So yeah, feel free to follow me on that. It's just another way I can show off my editing skills and get myself out there. But that is going to be all for today, guys. I really do hope you've enjoyed. And I thought, yeah, I haven't done pretty bad. And I'm looking forward to TJ coming back, take a bit of a calm this next stream. But big up to Dow, big up to Jez and everyone in the chat. You've been fantastic as usual, always keeping the chat flowing. But for now, guys, I hope you all have a good weekend. Come on, you Gunners. Hopefully some good news in the transfer news. Maybe we can get Declan Rice done in the next couple of days, but we'll see you all in the next one. Cheers, guys.